It was actually the first sport that I did. I was a cheerleader, and it was at the local church in Goodrich, actually. And we would cheerlead and cheer on the sidelines for the basketball games, actually. And at the end of the season, all the basketball players got trophies, but cheerleaders didn't. And so I was like, Mom, Dad, like, what's up with that? And they're like, well, you'll have to join basketball if you want a trophy. So and then the next season, I played basketball, and I got a trophy for it.
Maddie Voelker put down the pom-poms and picked up a basketball, and she's collected many trophies on the hardwood. Now she's a candidate to get the biggest one of them all, Miss Basketball. And that's a Duff Said. This is episode 24 of A Duff Said. I'm your host, Duff Tyler. Thank you so much for hitting the play button on your favorite listening device, wherever you listen to this podcast. 1,638 career points. That's how many Maddie Voelker now has in her 4 years as a member of the Goodrich Martians girls basketball team. On Friday, Maddie had just 12 points for Goodrich in the Martians' 49-41 win over Lake Fenton. Now that's not up to her usual standards, but it was enough to make her the all-time leader for career points at Goodrich. Voelker moved past Tanaya Davis for first place all-time in career scoring at Goodrich. Now that's key to this conversation because it was Davis who was crowned Miss Basketball for the Martians back in 2015. Now Maddie Voelker has certainly made a case for that award over these last few weeks alone, as she had a stretch of 4 straight games where she put up 30 points or more for the Martians. Goodrich is currently 7-2 and sitting in first place in the Flint Metro League. And when it comes to the Flint area, no one in either girls or boys basketball is scoring more points per game than Maddie Voelker. She's averaging about 27 a night. Now, I caught up with her this past week to talk about what she's gotten done in her time at Goodrich, as well as her future as a member of the Northwood University women's basketball program. A quick programming note, because this interview took place before the Lake Fenton game, she had yet to set the new scoring record at Goodrich, so that topic did not come up in my conversation with her. However, her coach Jason Gray did mention it when I spoke with him, and you'll hear that interview a little bit later in the show. Nevertheless, congratulations to Maddie Voelker, her teammates, her coaches, her family, the entire Goodrich community on a phenomenal accomplishment. My conversation with Maddie Voelker starts now. With the way you've been playing right now, you've been averaging about 27 points a game. From a personal standpoint, what does it mean for you to come out and have those kind of performances?
I mean, it's great. Last year I averaged a little less than that, and I mean, it was just kind of a goal, I guess you could say, to just kind of go above and beyond, and I have so far.
When you look at the entire Flint area in terms of basketball, boys and girls, there is a lot of talent in this area alone in Michigan. But between all the boys and all the girls, you are the leading scorer in the Flint area. I know that sounds crazy just to hear that. What does that mean to you? Can you even put it into words?
Not really. I mean, that's crazy. I've heard people say that, but like I still can't really believe it. You know, I don't really know what to say to that. I mean, when I see the stat sheet or someone tells me that I had that, I mean, I'm usually surprised. I don't really know that I'm that high up there, but I mean, it's awesome.
I want to go back to Game 7 of last season. You made a free throw at my college, and that gave you your 1,000th career point, and you did that as a junior. I don't think I've ever seen a junior get to that mark, especially in the 7th game of the season. Take me through that night. What was it like?
So I think it was 15 points that I had to get, and I knew that ahead of time. Don't know how, but I just kind of had figured that one out. And it was at the beginning of the second half that I was at the free throw line a lot because, like you said, my 1,000th point was a free throw. And I actually kept on missing them. Like, I knew it was coming up, and I was a little shaky, I guess, but I eventually got it, and it was awesome. I think Carmen's coach actually took the timeout, and that was pretty cool. And Stan's had the signs, which was awesome. And it was a packed gym because Beecher and Carmen boys were right after us. And, I mean, that was insane. So, I mean, everyone was there, and it's crazy.
Take me through that moment when you stepped up to the line, when you needed that free throw. What was going through your mind?
Well, I was just like, please make this. Like, let's not hold off anymore. But luckily it went in, and it was nice.
Did it feel good to just get that through and get that all that pressure off your back and just continue to do what you normally had to do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, I kept on not a ton, but I missed a couple free throws before then because I knew. But once I hit that, I was like, okay, it's fine. And I was able to kind of get over it.
And you were talking about the atmosphere. That was a crazy night. When you saw all those signs with people who knew what was about to happen, they knew that they were going to see history that night. What was it like to just see all of that unfold before your eyes?
It was awesome. I mean, my friends, family, they all had the signs. But, I mean, even the people that didn't have the signs, like the people there for the next game, I mean, they just stood up because, I mean, it was, like you said, the atmosphere was crazy. So, I mean, they just got in on it, which was even cooler.
And now with everything that you've accomplished in your 4 years at Goodrich, your name has been tossed out as a candidate for Miss Basketball in the state of Michigan. What is it like to hear your name mentioned with some of those great players?
I mean, that's just an honor. I mean, that's what you dream about. Like, as a freshman, I was like, I mean, you always think about that. And then when it's actually true, I mean, can't really put it into words. It's really hard work. I mean, I don't know.
I know in MLive, they've been putting a list of all the candidates, and your name has been in there steadily, time in and time out. What would it mean to you if you were able to get that accomplishment?
I'd be really honored, and I mean, it'd be awesome, and that's what I'm working for.
How much do you know about the other girls that have been mentioned as a potential candidate for Miss Basketball?
I mean, most all of them I recognize the name from travel or school ball, but mostly from travel. I mean, they're not girls that I've never played against or never heard of usually. I know pretty much all of them.
So you have had an amazing career in high school basketball, but we were just talking in the hallway, and it turns out you were a cheerleader at one point. What can you tell me about those days?
Okay, so it was actually the first sport that I did. I was a cheerleader. And it was at the local church in Goodrich, actually. And we would cheerlead and cheer on the sidelines for the basketball games, actually. And at the end of the season, all the basketball players got trophies, but cheerleaders didn't. And so I was like, Mom, Dad, like, what's up with that? And they're like, well, you'll have to join basketball if you want a trophy. So and then the next season, I played basketball, and I got a trophy for it.
It was the trophy that ultimately drew you into having one of the most successful basketball careers in the Goodrich area.
Sure was.
What was it about that trophy that you said, I just got to have that?
Well, I mean, every kid, it not like it was real or anything, but, I wanted that. And it was just a participation thing. It's not like MVP or anything like that, but I just wanted that in my room, and I was like, I want to play that sport, so.
Certainly you have won your share of trophies here at Goodrich. A season ago, you guys were just 10-10 going into the playoffs. But you guys had an amazing turnaround in which you were able to go all the way to the state quarterfinals. You guys won a regional championship. What do you credit to that turnaround when the postseason started? How were you guys able to dial it up a notch?
Yeah, so we had a hard couple games, stretch where we lost. We had some calls at the right at the very end of the game and bank three at one point. And, I mean, those just kind of hang your head about. And there was definitely just we were down for a while and we went kind of into a pit, but we kind of got out of it. And once the tournament came, I mean, we made a run and it was awesome and we played really well together.
What was key to get you guys really fired up for the playoffs? Because, like I said, you guys went in with a mark of 10-10, but you guys were able to dial it up another gear. Was there something that was said, or was it just the moment, or did you guys just go in thinking, you know what, we can do this?
I think we kind of had a chip on our shoulder. I mean, we kind of thought 10-10 doesn't really reflect how good of a team we were. I mean, it was just kind of I don't think we're a 10-10, 500 team. I think we're better than that, so I think we just kind of wanted to prove that.
And now you guys, where you're at in this season, you guys are 6-2, and you're battling Lake Fenton for first place in the Flint Metro League. What has kind of been the difference in this year's group?
Well, actually, all 10 of us are returners. There's not one new girl, so we had no seniors last year. So, I mean, we're used to each other, And something we kind of had to overcome this year was familiarity, because, like I said, we all 10 of us we played with last year, so we couldn't be comfortable with it ourselves. But I mean, that bond that we had last year, it's kept on going this year, and we play really well with each other, and we like each other on and off the court, and that really helps with the team chemistry.
You have won a championship trophy here at Goodrich each of your 3 years that you've been here, but last year you won a regional championship. What would it mean to you to win another one this year? I mean, obviously it starts with the Flint Metro League. You got to take care of that business first. What would it mean to you if you were able to make another run with this being your senior year?
It'd be awesome. I mean, I want us to go as far as we can. We got 6 seniors, and so I want us to go as far as, I mean, this group has ever been. Regionals is, quarterfinals actually is as far as this group's been, so I want to go even further.
You are headed to Northwood University, and let's talk a little bit about your future after Goodrich. You're going to play for the Timberwolves. What exactly did you see in the school and the program that made it the place that you wanted to spend the next 4 years of your playing career?
So they're a great business school, so my education I know is going to be great, and the campus is beautiful. The coaching staff, I love all 3 of the coaches. I know them very well. And then the players, it's just like a welcoming atmosphere, and I like kind of the family atmosphere too. Like, they've had like 11 sets of sisters on the team. 2 of them are playing right now, so I'll play with them next year. 2 sets, I mean. But it's just, and multiple of them I've actually played before in travel, or played with before and against and stuff like that, which is cool. But it was just felt like home.
What are some of the goals that you have set for yourself when you get to be a member of the Timberwolves? What are some things that you would like to accomplish on the basketball court for them?
I mean, that's hard. I just kind of, I want to make a difference. Even my freshman year, I'd like to go in and play, make a difference, like I said.
Basketball has taken you a long way in such a short amount of time. You've gotten to travel to a lot of places because you're on a travel ball team, and you become one of the all-time greats here at Goodrich. And now that you're going on to play in college, in addition to that trophy, what was it about basketball that really got you interested in the sport?
I grew up, when I was in elementary and middle school, we had a great team. 2013 and 2012, we won state championships. And I mean, those girls were role models, and I know my grade specifically, and all of the grades then, but we idolized all of them. Like, we had Tania Davis and Lexi Zavillian, Taylor Gleason. Frankie Gibran is actually the reason I'm number 32. I thought she was just the coolest person ever. So, I mean, I couldn't wait to play for Coach Gray, and I wanted to keep playing basketball and improving. They were role models to all of us.
So you have had a lot of great influences on your high school playing career, a lot of people that you got to see up close in person. But was there anybody on the TV set that you saw that you really wanted to emulate?
I don't watch actually a lot of WNBA, but I do like college. I like watching college, and I like Sabrina Ionescu, so you could say that one. I mean, I think she's awesome. Queen of triple doubles, so I really like her game.
In addition to the success that you've had here at Goodrich, your brother Jake just recently got a big notch in his high school coaching career. He is now the junior varsity coach here at Goodrich. He's only 21, and it's not often that somebody that young gets an opportunity to coach, and he's come a long way in such a short amount of time. What was the moment like in your guys' household when you got the news that he got the job?
It was awesome. I was so happy for him. He has really high basketball IQ. I mean, I know he's only 21, but he knows the game really well. And I was nervous just because of his age. He wouldn't get it, but like, it's well deserved. And all the girls love him. I think he's just what our program needs. He always comes into our practice with energy, and it helps a lot. Because I mean, we see each other every single day, and sometimes our energy isn't there. And then he'll walk in, and it changes practice a lot of times.
Now, what's it like to be with your brother at practice?
Well, sometimes we bicker a little bit, but we try to limit that. Usually it's fine. I mean, we got a handshake. Sometimes we forget to do it, but we have that kind of. But I like him there. And this is his last time he'll be able to coach me, so it's kind of sad, but I like it.
Has he gotten a chance to remind you that this is the only chance that he gets to really do those things that may get under your skin or butt heads at times?
Oh, for sure. When I get mad, he'll just be like, "Well, this is the last year you'll have to do it," and I'm like, "Okay."
Like brothers and sisters do. How would you describe the bond between the two of you?
he's probably my best friend. I have 2 other siblings besides Jake, but we're really close. We have been since we were little. And I like seeing him every single day. I mean, he comes into our practice, like I said, and I know I get mad at him a lot and we bicker sometimes, but I wouldn't have it really any other way.
And what's it like when you guys are off the court?
We're usually around each other. Like I pretty much follow him everywhere, always kind of have. But, 'cause like I said, he's probably my best friend, so.
In addition to him, your best friend, Reagan Lowinger, is headed to Northwood as well. She is going to be on the track and field team, so you're going to have somebody there to hang out with at Northwood. How thrilled were you when you got that news?
I was so happy. I know she had a couple other schools in mind, and I was kind of always hoping it was going to be Northwood. And then she said one night, she was just like, why not? So she committed, and I was really happy for her and so excited because, I mean, like I said, I know a lot of the team already. And there's another 2020 commit that I'll be rooming with, but, like, we've already talked about it, and Reagan will probably, like, suite mate with me, which is awesome. I mean, I'll have the basketball team, but, like, I'll still have Reagan, which is really cool.
And she is also the one that gave me the 411 on your cheerleading days. Do you miss those days at all?
No, I don't regret it, actually. I like basketball.
So no regrets on being on the sidelines. You are exactly where you were supposed to be, and the stat sheets clearly bear that out. Goodrich has obviously had a huge impact on your family, both with you and what you've been able to accomplish with the girls' basketball team and your brother, who's the JV girls coach. What are some things that you are always going to cherish about your time here?
I mean, my time playing under Coach Gray. He's a great coach, probably the best I've ever had. The time with my teammates, because this is my last year I'll be with any of them. I'll be with Reagan for 4 more years, but that's not really the same because she won't be playing with me, really. I mean, I played with these girls since I was in 4th grade. I'm going to cherish this last year because I won't play with them again, which is really sad, but I'll miss them, and we'll still see each other and stuff.
What would be the way that you would like to end your career here at Goodrich? If you could have any kind of play that you would like to make?
Well, I mean, besides dunking it, obviously.
Have you ever dunked before? Seriously.
No.
I can't either.
The last play, not even really a play, but just kind of the atmosphere with my team. Because like I said, this is the last time that I'll be with them, and I just want it to be a happy time, whether it's a win or loss that ends our career. I want it to be with my teammates, obviously, and with each other.
She is Maddie Voelker of the Goodrich Martians. Maddie, thank you so much for making the time this week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Want to get my takes on sports here in the state of Michigan? Well, that's easy. All you got to do is go to my Facebook page, sports journalist Duff Tyler. You can also find me on Twitter. I have the handle at DUFFTYLER. And you can also listen to previous episodes of A Duff Said. Just go to my website, dufftyler.podbean.com. I am joined now by the head coach of the Goodrich Martians girls basketball team, Jason Gray. Thank you so much for making the time this week on A Duff Said.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
What do you remember about the first time that you saw Maddie Voelker on the court?
Probably the first time I remember seeing her that I can really picture was how dynamic her game was. It was not a one thing that she does well sort of thing, and that's really played out over time. But she could score the ball. She gets to the basket incredibly fast. But I really liked her vision. You know, even in youth leagues, it was pretty obvious that she could do a number of different things, but saw the whole game, not just simply as a scorer. She's a great passer, and one of those, like I said, those sorts of things stood out from the get-go with her. That she's a really complete player.
And how would you describe the impact that Maddie is having on this year's team, particularly in the last couple of weeks when she's put up 30 or more points for you guys?
Really similar to the impact she had for us last year. At times we really need her to put points on the board. I think we're a pretty good defensive team. Sometimes offensively we struggle a little bit, and we right now need her to do that. You know, the best part is when there was a game a couple of weeks ago where she only had 23, but that night we had 2 other girls with 10 points, and she's very comfortable doing whatever we need her to do, whether it's a 25 or 30 point game, whether it's a 19, and other people are able to get involved. And that's really the nice thing about her. It's when other people get involved, she doesn't press for more. Usually, when other people are getting involved, we're doing a pretty good job, and she doesn't need to push for points. She takes them as they come, and fortunately, she's so talented that when they come in bunches, like she can score.
With the way that she is scoring right now, can you even imagine what the makeup of the Martians would be like without her?
No, we would we do a lot of things differently. Like I said, we're a pretty good defensive team, and Maddie's a really good defender, which contributes to our defensive abilities as well. But yeah, we would try a lot of different things. We'd probably press more and try to create more there. We would change our offensive, I think, style just to be able to well, obviously we'd look to some different people, but we'd have to be a little bit more intentional about who gets the ball when and where. And we do a good job with her making sure that she gets the opportunities, but she makes so many of those herself or out of the play that we would have to, and we'll have to next year, just really be more intentional about our execution. Has to be a little bit better, and really be mindful of what we're looking for when. But somebody else asked me, a different form of that question, which was like, what are you going to do without her? And I'm really not thinking about it too much right now. We're just enjoying the time.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're probably enjoying every moment that she is on the court right now. And because of all the contributions that she has given you over these last 4 years, her name is now being mentioned in the Miss Basketball conversation for the state of Michigan. How would you go about making the case for her?
I think it's an easy case. I understand there's a lot of talented players in the state of Michigan, and there'd be there's a couple of things that I would emphasize. Is one, she scored 25 points a game more or less last year. She's averaging 27 points a game this year, and she is the person that the other team is trying to stop. There is active. Every defense we see involves some way of trying to stop her from scoring. And right now, it's been sporadic with having a consistent second score, and I think we're coming. Jessica Velasquez is doing a really good job, and Reagan is doing really a better job of attacking the basket. But everybody knows that the majority of our points are going to come from Maddie. So to put up the numbers that she's put up, considering that everybody's trying to stop her, considering who we've played. I mean, this year, for example, Carmen is one of the best teams in the state. She scored 30. Byron's a very good team. She scored 23. Last year, we won a regional, but end of the year 10-10. But our schedule last year was just brutal, and she still averaged 25 a game with a similar situation. Everybody trying to stop her. On top of that, a regional championship and 3 district championships. It's not like she's going out scoring and maybe we'll win some games, maybe we won't. I think that matters. I think wins matter. I think championships matter, or they should. And we've been blessed to have in the last couple of years 3 Miss Basketball candidates between Tanaya, Lexi, and Taylor Gleason. And talking to other coaches, one of the things that really stood out about all of those players was they were winners. And obviously Maddie's a winner on top of her production, which obviously leads us to those wins. But I think she's an incredibly strong candidate, and I think coming from a place where we've had a Miss Basketball winner, we've had a Miss Basketball runner-up, and we've had 3 candidates. I think that might factor in a little bit.
What would it mean for you to get one more Miss Basketball?
That would be great. The recognition that our program has gotten over, this is my 21st year, and never would have imagined the type of success that we've had. I think, I don't want to say a feather in our cap, but just more validation of that we're doing a great job. As a program, as a school, as an athletic department, that our program and our players are that respected that they have to be considered for those sorts of honors. That's what it would mean a lot to me that way.
21 years of coaching here at Goodrich. Where would Maddie rank among some of the all-time greats that have played here for the Martians?
You are going to get me in trouble. She would rank among the top for sure. And we haven't talked about this, but she's as of tonight, she's 6 points away from tying Tenaya Davis for our school scoring record. So that says an awful lot about it. The nice thing for me is I can see Maddie's game in a lot of our players throughout our history. Like I said, there's a lot of Frankie Gibran in her, and Frankie had a great career here with state championship and had a great career at Belmont University. Went to the NCAA tournament. She reminds me of one of my favorite players who she probably doesn't even remember, Rachel Green, who a lot like Maddie, really, really good with both hands, could shoot the ball, could kind of play a number of different positions and fill the stat sheet that way. She's at the top, and we're just fortunate to be able to say, how good is she, or how good is our program to the point to where we got somebody here who's doing what she has done, and we're like, she might not be the best player we've had, and that says a lot about our program. But the fact that we're comparing her to players like Frankie and to Tenaya and Taylor Gleason and those players says an awful lot about the talent that she is.
She was almost a cheerleader. She saw those trophies being handed out, and she said, you know what, I don't really get a trophy for cheerleading, but they give out a lot of them for basketball, and certainly she has won them for you. How thrilled are you that she made that switch?
Very, very much so. And I was listening to you asking her questions about that, and what stood out to me when she was asked, when she's talking about that, was she wants to win, and trophies come from winning. And she is extremely competitive. She's very sweet, very nice, but extremely competitive. As she said, she's playing with her best friends right now, and that does not stop her from taking it. If she sees an advantage in practice, she's taking it. She's relentless in her pursuit of winning. Maybe the biggest compliment that she could get from her teammates is when we are setting up teams for the day, that we had one of her players, Alyssa Gauthier, who early on in the season unintentionally just wasn't on Maddie's team, and she's a competitor too, and she was so ticked off because she knows that Maddie wants to win and Alyssa wants to win, and I want to be on Maddie's team because we are going to win. And I know you can do competitive cheer, but it's not the same as winning in basketball. And I think that trophy, when she told that story, that to me was like, well, yeah, she's competitive, and if there's something to be won, she's going to try to win it. And so we've definitely been blessed. I'm sure our cheer program would benefit as well, but I'm not sure that they would benefit as much as a basketball program has.
Yeah, and many thanks to her best friend Reagan, one of the seniors of this group, that gave me that story, because I find that really fascinating. Sometimes people come from a different place that you never would have expected, but as far as this year's group goes, you have a lot of talent on this year's group. You've got 6 seniors on your roster this year, so it's not just Maddie who's making the contributions. You guys have gotten off to a 6-2 start this year. What has been the difference between that group last year that was just 500 in the regular season to where you are now?
I think a couple things. One, we got to give some credit to the people we played last year. We played a very, very difficult schedule. We played Corona twice, and they won almost 20 games, or maybe did win 20 by the end of it. We played Hamity twice. They end up going to the state championship game in Class C. We beat them one game. We beat Kingsley. We played Carmen again. We played St. Ignace. We played Midland Dow. We played Flushing. We had just a brutal schedule. And that was a big part of the 10-10. We had a couple of games, like Maddie mentioned, Corona banks in a 3 to beat us at the buzzer. Mercy, who's very, very good, they get a foul called at the buzzer to beat us as well. So that's a lot. Our schedule last year was pretty brutal. But that being said, this year the experience of last year, playing through some things, some challenges, I think has been big. That Swartz Creek game this past Tuesday, we were up 7 at halftime, and Swartz Creek breaks a 7-0 run like really quickly to start the second half. And I know I should call a timeout, and I'm frustrated, but then and mad, so I'm not going to call the timeout. But then on top of that, I looked at the team we had out there, and we got Maddie and Olivia O'Brien, who are 2 4-year varsity players. Our starting group, Jessica Velasquez is a 3-year varsity player. Reagan is a 3-year varsity player, and Alyssa Gauthier is a 2-year varsity player. Like, we're going to play through this, and we did. We went on a 14-0 run, or a 13-0 run at that point. So the experience helps, and I think even though we're developing, the understanding of what each individual can do makes a difference. But they know their roles pretty well. But also, I think we're developing some new roles, and that's really helped bring us a step beyond this year thus far. And on top of that, I got to mention, we had just a rash of injuries last year too. 2 ACL injuries. Cassidy Olsen, one of our post players, was out for a long time with a bad ankle injury, and that certainly didn't help. But so now it's nice to see everybody healthy, and they really play well together, really, and we've seen that thus far this year.
You are going to have a very emotional night when it's senior night, not just because Maddie will be there to give her speech, but you've got those other 5 players too. What will you always remember and cherish about your time with this group?
Man, there's a lot of good basketball memories, right? I mean, obviously our run last year to win the regional, coming off of a 10-10 year, like as Maddie said, we could say or think we were better, but winning titles is not easy to do. And so the excitement, how excited they were last year after winning that regional, that will really stick with me. Their closeness as a group, they, not just them as players, but their families, they're all going on spring break together on a cruise. They've been playing together so long. We talked about familiarity. Maddie mentioned it too, like being too familiar with each other. And we mentioned, I mentioned earlier this year with them, it's not just practicing with the same kids every day. It's the fact that they've been doing this since 4th grade together. They're in classes together. They're their best friend, a group of best friends. And I don't know that we've ever had a team, doesn't matter if it was 3 or 4 or 6 seniors, that have been as close of a group as these 6 are. And that's, I think, what's going to really stand out to me is how well they've stuck together with each other throughout this time and continue to be great friends. That, I think, is probably will stand out more than anything about this group, especially once we get away from the basketball stuff.
There's a lot of basketball left to be played on the Goodrich schedule. You guys are battling for first place in the Flint Metro League. Wish you guys all the best with that. Jason Gray, thank you so much for making the time this week on A Duff Said.
It's been a pleasure, Duff. Thank you.
And next up for the Martians is a road trip to Clio next Friday night. Again, thanks to Maddie Voelker and Jason Gray for coming on this week. That's going to wrap it up for episode 24 of A Duff Said. Episode 25 will be dropping real soon, so be listening for that. Until then, this is Duff Tyler reminding you that if Duff said it, it must be true, because that's what a Duff said.